Safety is an incredibly strong position a brand can hold. When something breaks, people reach for the name they trust to handle it. A name they've trusted for years, and usually without thinking about why. That instinct runs deeper than branding or business. It's the reason the archetype we're covering today is one of the most durable forces in human behavior. I'm Joseph Szala. This is the Bullhearted Masterclass, and today I'm diving deep into the caregiver archetype. This is the first of multiple episodes that we're going to cover in the exert control quadrant of the archetypal wheel. This is the part of the human psyche that wants order, stability, and steadiness when things get loud and chaotic. And three archetypes live here: the caregiver, the sovereign, and the creator. Every archetype sits inside a quadrant, as we've covered, and the quadrant is the core human drive undergirding each of the three archetypes. The exert control brands exist to reduce chaos. Kahneman and Bloom both found that people reach for certainty when life turns unpredictable. Structure, reliability, something steady to hold on to. Exert control brands give them that. Handled well, it frees people. Pushed too far, and it boxes them in. And the caregiver knows that edge better than most. The caregiver is a motivation before it's a mood. Protect, nurture, sustain. A brand earns this archetype by building its whole reason to exist around keeping people safe, not by sounding gentle in its ads. The psychology is bedrock. Bowlby showed that secure attachment forms when a caregiver shows up consistently with protection and attention, and that attachment anchors a person for life. Franz de Waal traced the same instinct across the animal kingdom, which tells us caregiving is biological, not cultural. Haid put care and harm at the center of human morality. So essentially, we're wired to protect the vulnerable, and caregiver brands connect straight to that wiring. The caregiver leads through presence and competes through consistency. It sells one thing, and that thing is peace of mind. So let's talk about what makes a caregiver so strong. These are its strengths: empathy and compassion. The caregiver reads emotional need before the patron voices it and answers with warmth. It treats people as people, and that runs through every touch point, from service tone to product design. The second trait is selflessness. It invests in service and quality even when that isn't the cheapest path, and patrons feel the difference between a brand built around their outcome and one built around conversion. The third trait is nurturing. These brands build environments where people feel guided and understood. Clearer onboarding, more patient service, copy that lowers strain instead of adding to it. The fourth trait is steadfast support. It shows up consistently, not only when things go well. The tone stays calm through turbulence, and the service holds when competitors wobble. And that constancy builds loyalty that is hard to disrupt. The last one is healing touch. It reduces stress in real functional ways. A problem resolved cleanly, a space that settles you, communication that takes pressures off. For people worn down by daily demands, even a little relief brings them back. And here's why this is so successful. While competitors push features, the caregiver brand offers comfort. And that's really the advantage. It anticipates needs, smooths out friction, and holds steady under pressure. In high anxiety categories like healthcare, finance, family, feeding, people you love, all of this, that steadiness becomes the moat. Patrons remember how a brand treated them when things went wrong, and that memory builds loyalty that's really hard to shake loose. But there is a dark side, as with all archetypes. Weaknesses that can challenge and sink brands that don't actively avoid them. Every archetype carries a blade that can turn inward. And the caregiver has 5 that I want to point out. The first one is over-attachment. where the brand tries to fix every problem for every patron until it loses its boundaries and turns reactive. The second is neglect of self, where it pours everything into service while the engine stars. Thin margins, burned out teams, a brand too depleted to care for anyone. Third is boundary issues, where it pushes into emotional space it wasn't invited into. It's the martyr complex, where it makes its own sacrifice the headline and leaves the patron feeling handled or not even seen. And self-righteousness, where compassion curdles into moral superiority and the brand starts guilt-tripping people at the register. The pair that quietly sinks into hospitality brands and destroys them is the martyrdom and self-righteousness in an apron. The restaurant that keeps telling you how much it cares and how hard it works, or the one that excludes people in an effort to include others. Care shows up in what you do, so do it and let the patron notice on their own and talk about it with everyone else. So how does this play out in real life? I find the caregiver archetype to be really interesting because it's representative of a mother's role within a traditional sense of family. She nurtures, she cares, she protects. Sometimes with that mom bear aggression that equally is impressive as much as it is really terrifying. In the world of brands, though, three come to mind. Allstate is really the clearest example, with even their slogan, "Are you in good hands?" ? It positions the brand as a guardian standing between you and your worst day, and it earns that with warmth and reliability instead of fear and fine print. Another one is Volvo. It built its whole identity on protection, on safety. And safety isn't just a feature it advertises, it's the reason the brand exists. When Volvo's engineer invented the modern 3-point seatbelt in 1959, the company opened the patent to every competitor, so the entire industry got safer. Giving away your biggest advantage to protect people who'll never buy from you is the caregiver motivation in its purest form. The third one I want to call out is Campbell's Soup. It sells comfort in a can, or at least it used to try to. It's the brand you reach for when you're sick, cold, or worn down, and decades of good have tied it to the feeling of being looked after. A food world caregiver that makes nourishment and reassurance the product. In your own kitchen, the caregiver remembers the order, notices the kid who didn't touch their plate, and comps the coffee when service runs slow. It feeds you like it wants you full and looked after. But there is a cautionary note here. Good service on its own doesn't make a caregiver, and every brand should serve well. The caregiver builds protection and reassurance into its whole identity, from the kitchen to the curb. A "we care" sign on the wall counts for little by itself. What does count is living it from the inside out so people feel it. The caregiver makes the oldest promise there is. I've got you. You're safe here. Don't worry. Keep that promise through your operations, through your entire company, rather than just your slogans. And you build loyalty competitors just cannot outspend. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I enjoyed bringing it to you. As always, please share this, comment, like, do everything you can to engage with this. It really helps keep it going. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Of course, do you agree, disagree, did I miss something? By all means, please put them in the comment section, and I will be sure to engage. Until next time, cheers.